Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Good Day Chula Vista, and we are on our episode 63. Can you believe that? Wow, it's we've been growing in 63 episodes. I want to say thank you for always being here with us, and today we have a very special guest with us. It's Lieutenant Henry Martin from the Chula Vista Police Department, so stay with us. Hey, we're getting better here.
Stepping up the game, yes.
Welcome back. So today we have Lieutenant Henry Martin here with us, and he was here last year. I'm sure you guys remember. He gave us some tips for safety, for just keeping our houses safe. So with that, it would be a good idea that he come and tell us about Halloween night. What are the things that we can do to be safe for our kids, for our homes to be safe? What are the things that we can actually do if we go out and party? What should we be doing and not doing? So thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. My pleasure.
So we know who you are, but not all the viewers know. So tell us about you and tell us about your uniform, like the changes on it.
So, change. I think I was wearing it last year. For the month of October, the department authorizes us to wear the pink patches, all the different pink equipment for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we did last Friday, we did something with Sharps Hospital. They had their awareness day, and we all went out there, and we got some of us, well, not us, but some of the people were getting their hair painted pink.
Awesome.
Right, so.
You didn't do that?
No, I had too much product in my hair, and it wasn't going to take, so I told them I couldn't do it. So I had a pink bow put on painted on my cheek, though.
That is so good.
It's all in the spirit of fun.
Yes, yes it is, and getting everybody encouraged to prevent it.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about you.
I've been with the police department for 28 years full time. I've been there about 35 years. I started when I was 14 as an explorer. I went all the way through, and now I'm here as a lieutenant in charge of community policing and responsible for this type of stuff, getting the word out for the department and trying to build trust and rapport with the community and making sure that the community is well informed and is able to take care of themselves and help us to take care of them.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing that. Great
Enjoy
job.
it.
I do see you a lot of the times on the news when something's going on. I see your face there, so you're
Yes.
always involved with a lot of things besides,
I'm responsible for the Spanish-speaking news media, so I do a lot of those.
Awesome. That's why you're so popular.
Yeah, the Spanish-speaking news media, yes, they make me famous.
Well, that's good. So let's talk about Halloween safety. Give us some do's and don'ts, and let's start with the do's. What are the things we should be doing?
So do's, you need to be seen. That's one of the main things that we try to get out to everybody. Either bring a flashlight. If you don't have a flashlight, then obviously something else that would work. Glow sticks or anything else that's going to illuminate you. Wear light colors if at all possible. It's kind of hard during Halloween. Everybody wants to dress in the dark, the Dracula and the darker colors. But they have reflective tape you can buy, or a vest, or something that's going to stand out so that you can at least be seen by the traffic. And obviously, with daylight savings time, it gets darker earlier now. So obviously, for Halloween night, it's going to be pretty dark.
It gets darker earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
So the drivers are coming home during rush hour time, and if the kids start going out, as soon as it gets dark, it's a recipe for some bad stuff to happen if you're not visible and you're not making sure that you're being seen.
Especially here in Bonita, because in some of the areas where I live, there's no sidewalks, so kids are walking right next to the street.
It's funny, when I was looking at the safety tips they were talking about, make sure you're always on the sidewalk, and if there's no sidewalk, to stay as close to the right side of the roadway as possible, away from traffic. And I'm thinking, well, there's sidewalks everywhere, right? But
No.
I didn't realize you're going out to different parts of the county as well. So yes, if there is no sidewalks, you're supposed to walk as further away from traffic. And ideally, you'd like to be walking facing traffic, so you can see the cars coming towards you instead of having them at your back. And that way you can see if the car, what's going on.
They don't see you. If you see them, you can move to the side.
That's correct, exactly. Also, for the dues, make sure that you stay in a group and that you have an adult or somebody that's responsible, older, to keep an eye on you, to chaperone you, especially for the little ones. We don't recommend you sending out younger kids by themselves to do the trick-or-treating, just for safety reasons.
How old do you think they should be before they go out by themselves? Like you as a dad.
personally, it's 21.
Okay, he probably has daughters.
Yeah, no, it's boys, but I'm just really, my wife and I are very protective. I mean, it's up to each adult. Everybody has to make their own decisions, obviously, but, we just recommend that, if the kids are out trick-or-treating, it doesn't really matter what age they are, right? If they're out trick-or-treating, their focus is on getting the candies and having fun, having a good time. So just having an extra set of eyes there that's not dressed up in the costume or is not focused on the candy and kind of focused on the kids' safety, just to make sure that, they're watching the traffic and making sure nobody's running out across the street. So
that is a good idea, not being so you can actually focus on what's going on. Because when you're not part of the getting the candy and all this stuff, you actually get to see the whole picture.
Right, exactly. The situational awareness, maintaining that focus on the rest of the activity versus, I'm trying to get which house has the most candy, or where are you going to go, or all the cool decorations, let's go check out that house, and if the person's not involved, like you said, they can kind of keep an eye on the situation and, make the decision as far as where they're going to go.
So maybe assign someone who's going to go in the group, who's going to be that person that is going to be just keeping an eye instead of just getting.
Correct.
You won't have as much fun, but.
But your kids will be safe, and you have a good time. You won't be worried that night.
Exactly.
Always use the sidewalks, cross at intersections, stay in well-lit areas. Don't run out in the middle of the street or cross the street at the midpoint. We see it a lot. Kids are going down the street, and then they look over and they see something that attracts them on the other side, whatever, the decorations, or if there's a bunch of kids at the other side of the street, they figure that's a better place to go. And the temptation's always there to run across the street, but it's not the safest place to cross. So we recommend go to the intersection, and not just Halloween, anytime, right?
Instead of doing this zigzag.
Correct.
They start doing.
Yes.
They have a question?
Yeah, Karen has a question. She asked, I've seen parents who take their kids walking and they follow them on the car. Does that seem safe?
Yes and no. Obviously it's better than letting them go by themselves, but if you're following them in the car, that means that you're probably driving pretty slow, so you're probably impeding traffic, and you could cause traffic issues with other cars trying to get by you, and other cars trying to get by, and it just
upsetting them, and then going faster around
yes,
you,
the
hitting
road
someone.
rage. Yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't recommend it. It's, like I said, it's better than nothing. But hey, you got to get your steps in, right? So might as well just get out and walk and get the exercise and
yes, Karen,
use
you
as the
can do that
opportunity.
with your kid. She would never do that anyways. Okay.
Obviously, it's a no-brainer. Obey all traffic rules, and always follow the rules of the road to make sure that you stay safe. And obviously, one of the last ones, if you see anything suspicious, please call us. If it's an emergency, 911. If it's not an emergency, you can call our non-emergency line, 691-5151. Trust your gut, trust your instincts. If you think it's suspicious, just give us a call. We're not going to chastise you. We're not going to yell at you or ridicule you or make fun of you for calling about something that doesn't really rise to that level. But we're better safe than sorry. Right? Yeah, we'll be the judge of it. We'll decide whether or not it's something we need to go out or not, and then we'll get the proper resources out there to address the issue. And probably one of the most important ones, and not just for Halloween, is put your phone away. If you're walking down the street, please don't have your phone in your hand. And I know it's hard to say because everybody's got their phone, their life is tied up with their phones, but walking down the street with your phone in your hand, you're not paying attention to what's going on. That situational awareness I talked about earlier, you don't have it when your face is buried in your phone. And there's a lot of things that can happen. I mean, we've all seen the funny videos where people they're walking in the mall and they fall into a fountain because they don't see where they're going. That's probably the funniest thing that could happen. But I mean, if you walk out in the middle of traffic or something, you get hit by a car that's backing out of a driveway because your face is buried in the phone. It's kind of a dangerous situation.
Or your kid is taken into a house and you don't even see
and you
where
don't see
the
what's
kid
exactly
went.
right. Yeah. So the whole thing about the independent person that's watching the situational awareness doesn't do you any good to be out there and being the responsible chaperone when you're on your phone, updating your Facebook status or watching some live, Facebook.
You know what? That is a great point because usually we're all in Snapchat trying to put our Instagram or trying to take pictures or videos what's going on. And I think, obviously we want to do that. Maybe we can do that at the beginning and then put it away, and every time we get to a house.
I mean, you can take pictures as you're going of the kids trick-or-treating and then just wait to post it till after you're done.
Right.
And it's probably not as much fun because you want to do it right then and there, but trust me, I don't think anybody's going to realize you're doing it, after the fact.
You got to think safety.
Right. Safety is important. And, we're having, issues out on the street. People are walking around with their phones and, they're getting, assaulted or robbed for their phones because it's, you're walking, you're showing what it is you have. And most of these phones now are, mini computers and they're pretty expensive. So they,
they're like $800, the cheapest one.
Exactly. So they see that phone, they know exactly what they're going to get. Whereas as before, it's like, well, they look at somebody, they don't know what they're going to get, how much money you have in your pockets, whether you have any money in your pockets or not. But now it's,
You have the phone.
you're advertising, hey, this is the.
I
the
have
thing,
it. Just take it and run.
Yeah, so
Hit
just,
me.
we'd recommend that you keep the phone in your pocket.
Okay, great idea. So those are some of the do's, and what about some of the don'ts?
Some of the don'ts. Let's see. We're always the bad guys, right? Tell everybody not to do stuff. Never cut across anybody's yard or the middle of the street.
Uh-huh.
So we already talked about the middle of the street.
Uh-huh.
Cutting across somebody's yard, you don't want to upset people. Especially if they got manicured lawns, or you don't want to trip and fall on the middle of the grass and get an injury on Halloween night. It's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
Never, ever enter a stranger's house or a stranger's car to go get a treat. That's kind of a no-brainer for us as adults, but for kids, it's like all they're focused on, like I said earlier, is the Halloween, the treats, get the stuff. So
I think that's really important that we tell our kids, our nephews, nieces, when they're going out before they get out of the car, to really, because sometimes they'll have the candy inside the house. And you're supposed to walk in and get it, so you have to definitely go over that. Like be very specific, because it might seem like it's not that far in.
correct.
But or sometimes they'll even ask to go inside. Can I use your bathroom? Can I get a glass of water?
Yeah, it's a lot of things to worry about. And then having that chaperone there, at least it's 2 or 3 steps inside. At least the chaperone can keep an eye on it. And, it's
Right.
good. But if the kids are by themselves or the chaperone's down by the sidewalk and they're up here, it's like why even get into that area and avoid the problems.
Yeah.
Never run across the street for obvious, not so obvious reasons. Trip and fall hazard. You look and see the cars coming. Judging. You're trying to judge the distance and you run trying to get across in time. But if you trip and fall because you're running, you lose your balance and the car's still coming. It's bad results. So we highly discourage any running across the street. If you have to run across the street, you probably shouldn't be crossing, because that means you're probably not safe enough.
Right.
Right. If you can safely walk across the street, you're good. If you're trying to run, then it's probably not a good idea.
Not a good idea. Yeah.
Don't wear masks that block your view or your ability to hear.
Okay.
For obvious reasons, you want to be able to see and hear what's going on. If a car's honking its horn or the engine's revving, you want to be able to hear that so that you know there's a danger coming. And you want to be able to see, especially if you're crossing the street, obviously, where or trip and fall hazards. If you can't see where you're going because the eye holes are letting you stay straight ahead, and you trip on something, you don't want to get hurt.
Right.
Don't assume that a car saw you. Make sure you make eye contact with the person in the car. Just because they're slowing down doesn't necessarily mean they saw you and they're slowing down for you. Just could mean that they're slowing down because they're going to make the turn, or they're going to do a California stop at a stop sign. So make sure you make eye contact. Make sure the car's at a complete stop before you cross the car's path.
Okay.
And I used to tell my kids, just let the car go. Wave them through and tell them, hey, go ahead. There's no rush. Let the car go, and then you can go behind them. That way you're safe and sound. You know for sure that nothing's going to happen to you.
That they saw you. Yeah.
Obviously, never eat unwrapped candies or open beverages. It's not safe. I mean, unless you're going to your grandma's house, obviously.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Martin said not to eat any candy, Grandma. That's fine. If it's your family members or friends or neighbors that you're aware of, I mean, that's
right. Them.
Yeah, but a stranger, you don't eat any of that stuff. And this last one is, don't give small candy or choking hazard type stuff to younger kids, because you don't want to have to deal with any of the emergency ramifications from that.
Especially if they're walking and you won't be able to see what's going on under the custom, and if they're choking, sometimes you won't be able to see. So those are the do's and don'ts, and let me see. I have more questions for you.
Go ahead.
So, how is our community doing better at preventing bad incidents?
So in regards to what part of the community, you as a community or us as the police department?
I guess us as a community, are we doing better as homeowners, as parents, as community members to help with accidents or things like this happening, or are we doing worse from what you've seen the last 5 years?
Well, I guess I can tell you this: we've been rated one of the top 10 safest cities in the United States.
Oh wow!
So,
Chula Vista.
Yes, and that's our claim to fame, which I guess would say that we are one of the we're doing a good job between the police department and the community, and the combined efforts to try and keep the community safe. There's always room for improvement. I mean, we're never perfect, right? If we were number one, if we were the first safest city, then I would say probably. But the
top 10 is really good.
Yeah, it's really good. We get a lot of information from like next door. We see a lot of stuff on there. I couldn't tell you if a lot of the stuff gets called into the police department. I know, like I spoke last year that some people get frustrated because they said, oh, they called the cops and they never came because it was nothing nothing major. we don't mind the phone calls. The more information we have, the better. Even if we don't go out on it, because it's not something that rises to that level where we need to send somebody, but at least we're aware of it, so we know where the problem areas might be, or the potential problems. So I think that we can always do better in that. Encourage the community to keep calling us. Don't get discouraged if we don't go out or if it's a long response time. We're working on that right now. We're trying to hire more people. We're recruiting. So if anybody wants to be a police officer out there, please go to our website. We're definitely hiring. Plenty of opportunities for that. But we do encourage the community to call us. We also have access through our email system through the police department, our website, and you can message us on the different social media apps, Facebook, obviously, Twitter,
I see the
Instagram.
page.
You can send us stuff, just so we're aware of the different things. But the more information that we have, our police department, we're not the largest police department in the county. We're understaffed, but with the community's help, lots of extra eyes and ears out there and feeding us the information, it opens up our field of view. Whereas, with one officer can see this much, but with all the people calling in and giving us the information, we open it up and we're able to be aware of more information. So
Right, and don't get, like he said, don't get discouraged if you don't get like this, everybody coming over. The more they hear about it, they're gonna pay more attention. Just the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So if you're having issues in your neighborhood, it's usually the same person usually creating the problem. So you want to keep calling, even if it's not a report that needs to be filed. Just keep calling, and eventually they'll hear it so many times that they'll probably have somebody driving by more often, right?
our job, when I first got hired, it was crime fighting, and slowly but surely, now it's, we call it crime and disorder. So it might not rise to the level of a crime, but if it's a public nuisance or a disorder type issue, it's something that falls in our purview. So we try to go out and address the issue so we can try and keep that disorder from rising to the level of a crime.
That's awesome. Well, that's great. So that means we are doing better as a community, right?
I would say yes.
Yeah. I live in Bonita, and sometimes I see the next door neighbor when they're posting, people are breaking in, and we've never had any accidents there. Yeah. So I think it's sometimes I think social media, because everybody's posting and you see it so many times, you think that it's worse than what it really is. So I think I'm glad to hear that we're on the top 10 of the safety cities, because I honestly have felt it.
Yeah, I live in the city. I wouldn't move anywhere else. I think that we're definitely a good community. The people, like you said, that with the social media, you're just aware of things more. And if it's one incident that happened and there's multiple people posting about it, it just seems like there's, it's like anything you watch the news, it's like it's always negative stuff that you hear on there. So, but in overall, I think that we're definitely a good place to live.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody cares about everyone, and they're trying to. If they catch someone, trust me, they make sure they get caught. We're team players for that stuff. How can we get involved with our Chula Vista Police Department to know more and to create a safer lifestyle?
So, like I said, you can follow us on our different social media platforms. We put out advisories for different things that we do. We have various events throughout the year. We have National Night Out event, which is in August, where it's like an open house for the police department. You come down and get a tour of the police department, see a bunch of different stuff that we have there. We have several events like Chick-fil-A. We're doing a Shop with the Cop event, I believe, the beginning of November.
Oh, okay.
So you can interact with the police officers.
Is it here in the Chula Vista Otay Ranch?
Yes.
Okay.
Chick-fil-A at Otay Ranch. We also do the Citizens Academy and a Juvenile Academy that we open up enrollment. We put it out on Facebook next door, and we open up the police department. You come down. I think it's a 8-week or 10-week course. I'm not sure. It's a 1 day a week for like 4 hours, and we do different presentations on different things from the police department so that we can show people in the community what it is that we do and how we do things. The one issue that we have is the misperception based on the like CSI and all those other shows that the crime gets solved in 30 minutes, and obviously the reality is it probably takes a lot longer than that. We like in CSI, they do DNA results, they get them back like right away in like a couple minutes, right, when they know who the suspect is. It doesn't work. It works. It's sort of like that, but it takes a lot longer than 30 minutes. So we just like to get the community aware of what our limitations are, what we can and can't do, and that way they don't have higher expectations or lower expectations than what they should.
What about when you see kids like here in our community? There's the high. We live really close to the high school here, and sometimes you'll see kids getting in trouble, breaking into Walmart and stuff like that. How can we help those? You know, sometimes you don't know who their parents are, and you feel bad, like, okay, I'm not just gonna go and confront them. What are the things that we can do as a community to help them?
Well, the issue with juveniles is there's a lot of confidentiality issues, so you're not going to be able to get a whole lot of information as far as, actually probably wouldn't be able to get any information as far as who they are or what their, you know, any of their criminal history stuff. So it's mostly from the police department side. They go through probation, juvenile diversion, the juvenile courts. So there's programs in place already to help them, to try and get them on the right path so that they don't get into the criminal justice. The whole purpose of the juvenile justice system is to keep the juveniles from going into the criminal justice system, to where so they don't get a criminal record. So every effort is made to try and divert them out of that system and put them into counseling and get them on the right track, and put them with a mentor, or get the parent, you know, go to some kind of counseling or some type of a class to show them, you know, that what they're doing is wrong, and get them set on the right path.
Before he gets to
He or she.
that place. Yes. Okay, well, those are really good tips. Also, I wanted to ask you, what about having cameras out, like outside of your house on Halloween night?
Halloween night or every night? I would say every night. But,
Yeah, just because we're talking about Halloween.
yeah,
but
so we obviously we think they're a great idea. There's obviously, we don't endorse any particular camera. That, you know, it's up to you what you want to buy. But you know, if you have the ability to record, it probably benefits us as well from the police department side. You know, if you can record the video and have access to it, so that if there is an issue and something happens and you have it recorded, you can provide us with the evidence so that we can use it for the prosecution purposes. Or if we're not going to a criminal matter and it's just some suspicious activity, if we have the video, we can at least, you know, have that to go forward with.
Okay, well, great. I think those are great. And you did send us this flyer.
Yes.
So I'm gonna post this flyer that he sent us, and this is from the police department, right?
Yes,
You guys came up with this, and I'm gonna post it on the page so you guys have it. And these are some of the things we talked. I think most of the things we talked about today, so you guys can print it and keep it with you, and maybe go over this with your kids before you go out trick or treating. And if you go, what about, like, I know we talked most of this stuff about the kids, but what about if you as an adult are going out partying and drinking?
That was my last one. I was going to
let
you finish and then dovetail in and crowbar this in there. All right, so for the adult side, obviously, or the driving public, not just adults, you know, teenagers with their driver's license, obviously there's going to be a larger than normal pedestrian crowd out and about. You know, out here, you know, you see people jogging and walking, but there's not a whole lot of pedestrians out and about because it's not a business district where, like downtown Chula Vista, there's more people walking around. That night there will be a lot more people out here, so please be careful when you're out there driving. We want you to drive slower than normal. It's going to be dangerous, you know, with all the kids out walking about. Kids don't react like normal adult pedestrians do. You know, kids don't really think about the traffic side of it unless they're walking to school on a daily basis. But you know, most people drive, at least from the traffic stuff we see at the school. So
that's true.
Drive slower than the normal, please. Stop longer at the stop signs. You know, the California stops probably on that night should definitely not be a part of your driving habit. But even when you stop, I would just, you know, do the 1, 2, 3 count and make sure that you look, you know, both ways a couple times, because you never know what's going to happen. As you're driving down the street, look out for kids darting in between cars. So, you know, make sure you look in between the cars and see, you know, be ready to go with your foot, you know, getting ready to go on the brake. Please don't drive distracted, once again, with the cell phone. If you're walking, you shouldn't have it. If you're in the phone, that night you should definitely not have the cell phone out, because on top of the fact that it's a distraction, if you're driving in the dark and that you have the, you know, your backlit from the screen, your eyes are going to get, you know, dazed, and you're not going to be able to see when you put the phone down. So, you know, it's pretty dangerous driving in the dark with the phone out, because the lights are going to blind you.
Plus, most people are wearing like fake eyelashes at night, or the guys are wearing the mask, and you know.
Well, you know what? You bring up a good point. I never even think about that, but you definitely shouldn't be driving with a mask on, because it's not dangerous. It definitely limits your peripheral vision and your ability to turn, you know, side to side. So I know it's going to ruin the costume, but you know, park a distance away from the house where you're going, and then you can put it on real quick and then get out. That way, people don't see you without the mask. But driving with the mask.
When you have it on, you can't really see it to the side.
And you know what? Another good point it just reminded me is, if you're wearing the costume while you're driving, be careful, because whatever you're wearing, if you're wearing a you know, like a mummy or God forbid, whatever you're wearing, if it interferes with the foot pedal and the operation of the brakes and the gas, it's going to definitely cause you some problems. So think about that before you get in the car, and figure out make sure you're able to operate the vehicle safely before you can drive.
Just Uber there. $7.
It's your endorsement. So and along with the Uber request, DUI is obviously a big concern. This weekend coming up is the last weekend before the Halloween, so it'll probably be the busy party weekend. So please don't drink and drive. Don't do drugs and drive. Please, it's just we ask that the people refrain from it. If you do feel like you need to drink and drive, get an Uber designated driver, family member, somebody that's going to come
somebody
pick you
to
up.
pick you up.
Yeah. So
Besides, you could get into an accident and kill someone and not die and then have to go to jail. Besides going through all that, it's so expensive to get a DUI. It is just so much more than what it was right now, and I've seen it, and I see how many months they get in jail, and it's something so silly. Sometimes you think you're not drunk, and you have to think about how much you weigh. And like my size, I can only take one drink. If I have a second drink, I'm already drunk, even though I don't feel like I'm drunk, but legally I'm already drunk. So sometimes you have to know your weight and really look at those charts. How many drinks can I have according to my weight? Because that's going to make a difference. If they stop you, you might think you're not drunk, but maybe you are. And trust me, it is expensive to get out of a DUI, right?
So yeah, it is. And just to clarify that the word that Officer of Traffic Safety and CHP and the police departments are getting out, it's not drunk driving, it's impaired driving. So drunk is what you see, people falling down drunk and vomiting,
Yeah.
and that's drunk. Obviously, those people probably, if they get in the car, it's a bad deal, right? But impaired driving is, as long as you're over the 0.8 limit, and
Right.
for some people it's one drink, 1.5 drinks. So,
You're already
and the
legally-
problem with those charts is those charts are not black and white for everybody. So, if you don't drink on a regular basis and you go out and you have one drink,
One
that could
drink.
still put you over the legal limit. So you got to be really careful with that
Yeah.
stuff. And our recommendation is just get a designated driver.
Yeah, definitely. It's put that application. Just remember, you got to do that app on your phone before you go to the party. And there's many applications to have. I think there's Lyft, Uber. There's so many of them. Just make sure you get one, get your credit card on it, and have it ready on your phone. Because if you're thinking of doing it while you're already there and you're drunk, it might take you a while. But make sure you're ready with all those things before you go to that party, right?
Yes.
What else on that?
I think that was it.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're adults, and just remember, don't drink and drive, don't wear your custom if it's going to interfere with your driving, don't wear your mask, he said. Ruin your custom. Just put it on when you get to the party. And if it's a girl and you have all this makeup on, we like to put tons of makeup and the eyeliner and the eyelashes and the glitter. All that, it really gets on your eyes when you're driving. And like he said, if you're on the phone and doing all those things, you could definitely get into an accident quick. So think about all those things. It's supposed to be a fun night. We're supposed to go out and collect candy with the kids and party with our friends. So you want to have a good experience, so you want to prepare. And if one of your friends, I cannot emphasize on this enough, and Tony here will be my witness because we've seen it happen. If you go to a party and one of your friends gets too drunk, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're not really close with him, do not let him leave that party. You take his keys, even if they get upset, and you do not let that person drive. So just remember that it happened to one of our friends, and you know what? We all regret not forcing that person to stay, right? So we want to make sure, this is a good time to remember that. Do not let your friends drive drunk. You don't do it, and don't let any of your friends do it as well. I think sometimes we get intimidated to take the keys from someone that we don't know, and we see them drunk, and we're like, oh, I don't really know him. I'm just going to pretend I didn't see that, but,
It's just as hard with friends because you feel bad. It's your friend, but then you're going to feel worse if they get arrested, or heaven forbid they get in an accident and something really bad happens. Then you're gonna I should have done it. So,
Yeah.
like that's one of the other sayings that they have: friends don't let friends drive drunk.
Yes, and it's for a reason that they say that. So it's supposed to be a fun night. Enjoy it, and just be prepared with all these safety tips. And just go to the Chula Vista Police Department page. They have this flyer I think I saw it in there too. They have one of these, so you can go there. I'll post it on our page. And do you have anything else you want to add?
I'm open to any questions you might have, but yes, I just, like I said, we just want everybody to have a safe Halloween, and not just a safe Halloween, but just a safe all-around environment every time of the year.
So we have a lot of people here saying hi. Ana Hueso, hi, Lieutenant Martin, Marta Garcia, Victoria Thomas. They probably know you, but you don't know them. Paul Anthony, thank you for joining us. Marisol Nunez, Valeria, Sal Aguilera, gracias. Marisol, Dennis, thank you everyone for joining us. Karen, Jose Melara, Melanie, David, Victor, gracias por estar aquí. So, okay, so hopefully you guys got some good tips. Share this video on your page. It could save somebody's life, or it could save, some heartache on any parent. So make sure you share this video. And we are going to have a video at the end of the show for one of our listings that we're hosting an open house this weekend. It's a beautiful house here in East Lake Vistas.
Is it this one?
Well, thank you for letting us come to your house. You have a beautiful house.
Yes. I work hard to, polish the stairs, make sure it's nice and clean. I didn't want to mess when you guys came over.
This is actually Tony's house.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, this is a house in East Lake Vista. So if you know anyone that's thinking of buying, it's a beautiful house. We'll have the video after the show. And we're hosting an open house there Saturday and Sunday. And we also have another open house on another property in Spring Valley. So we'll post it also on our page. Make sure you come to our open houses and let us know if you guys have any questions. Thank you so much for
You're
joining
welcome.
us. And I have to ask you here, you're going to have to help us get a fireman here to tell us about carbon monoxide for this.
We'll work on that as well.
Okay. You guys are my witness. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
And hopefully the next time we see you, it would be here, not because anything else happened.
Yeah, I guess next year probably, right?
Yes.
Okay, sounds
Hopefully you'll be here next year too. Thank you so much, you guys, and we'll see you next week. Oh, no, we're going to do the drawing. Yes. Adrian. So we're going to do it. We always do a drawing for whoever made a comment or said hi. So we're going to get you to pull out 2 names. And this is what our sounds were for. So
Wait.
they get a Starbucks card.
Wait.
You have more? Okay, Adrian was lagging, so he was not logging everybody's name. So make sure you get everybody's name
Someone
there.
literally just threw it in right now.
Oh, okay. Make sure you guys are putting your name there if you want to be part of this. Thank you, Tony. Okay, so we have our sound. Okay, that's the first one. You want to open it, please?
Can we read it out?
Yeah, please read it out loud. Let's see who's the winner of one Starbucks card.
Tony Santiago.
Tony!
Come on. You know what they gave you?
He probably was
Yeah, they can play the video again.
We are
live.
doing another one too.
Wait, read
We
it out.
always do 2. Don't. Hey, everybody participates.
Okay.
We make our own rules here.
Myra Kendi?
Mayra, señora Mayra, le voy a mandar su tarjetita por correo. Yay!
So let me get this straight. Everybody tuned in to get the gift card, not to listen to me. Right, I get
I
it.
didn't want to tell you that, but
Right.
no, I'm sure it was because of you, because you got like 5,000 views last time. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next year again.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.